Now listen up here, guys. He is a very well-shaped what? Black man. Here he is here, guys. Look at him. We are supposed to believe that this is him. Even though that book, published in 1733, describes this man as being a black man. Okay guys, here we are on the American Dictionary of the English Language. This book was published in the year 1828. This is volume 1, okay? I want us to see the definition of the word complexion in this book, okay? You can see complexion right here. Complexion means what? The color of the skin, particularly of the face, the color of the external part of the body or thing. Basically, when it comes to the human body or the body of any object, it has to do with the color of that thing, okay? So let's move forward now. Here we are in this book titled Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackay during the reign of King William, Queen Anne, and King George I, including also the true secret history of the rise, promotions of the English and Scots nobility. This is the second edition. This book was published in London in the year 1733, guys. Okay, this book is old. I'm going to use this book to prove to you that a majority of the lords, the ladies, the nobility that were ruling in Scotland and England, as you will see in this book, were black people, guys. Okay, black people. Most times when we watch all these movies like The Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, which is one of my favorite all-time movies, we see a story of a lot of white races, right? The white elves, the white men, the white dwarves, the white hobbits, the white wizards, all these white people uniting to fight against the Dark Lord. Okay, it's very important that you realize that the Dark Lord is actually inspired by the dark-skinned lords who were ruling Europe in the not too distant past, guys. This book was published in 1733. Around this period, we still had a lot of dark-skinned lords and ladies who were the nobility of Scotland and England, okay? And in this book, we are going to see many of them being described. And then I'm going to show you guys what modern day portraits of these people look like, and then you will see that yes, our enemies have gone back in history and whitewashed many great black people, many great Negroes in particular, guys. Okay, so let's get started. Now we are on page 25. Now look at who we are talking about. We're talking about a man named Daniel, the Jarl of Nottingham, the Secretary of State. He's the eldest son to Mr. Finch. So his name is Daniel Finch, guys. Okay, let's see what this passage says about him and how he's described, and then I'm going to show you guys a picture of how he is now on the internet, guys, and you're going to see the deception that the Caucasian elite has played on the entire world, guys. Okay, so let's see. He is the eldest son to Mr. Finch, Lord Chancellor in the reign of King Charles II. So let's go down now to where he talks about his complexion. Okay, that's the most important thing. So I'm going to go down. Remember, we're on page 25 here. It's talking about Daniel Finch. Let's go down, I believe, to page 26. Now listen to what this page says about his physical description, guys. He has also the exterior air of business and application enough to make him very capable. In his habits and manners, very formal. A tall, thin, very black man. You see that, guys? He's a tall, thin, very black man, like a what? Like a Spaniard, or this is Jew, even though it's a bit cut off, like a Spaniard or a Jew, about what? 50 years old. They are telling you two things in this passage here, guys. The Spanish people were black men or black people, and guess what? Also the Jew as well. These are black people. Now let's see what the internet wants you people of the world to think he looks like. Okay, so here is what they are showing us here, guys. This book describes him as being a very black man, but look at what we are seeing. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Daniel, Jarl of Winch, I can't really see what is written right there. Anyway, the Jarl of something and Nottingham. Okay, he's the Jarl of two places. Daniel Finch. And here we have him as a what? As a white man. Look at this. The book describes him as being a very black man. A very thin and tall black man, resembling a Spaniard or a Jew, because these people were both black. The Jews and the Spanish were black people. But look at the images that we have right here, guys. White man. Look at him with his white hand. There's nothing black here, guys. He's a pale skinned Caucasian right here. So here we are on page 16, and it's titled Characters of Charles, the Duke of Somerset, Master of the Horse. Okay, this is the title that he had. So let's read. Of the ancient family of Seymour, who made so great a figure in the reign of Edward VI. This Duke, in the reign of King Charles II, had the garter and married the heirs of Piercy of Northumberland, which much increased his estate. I'm going to jump down to the actual point now, just a little bit to this portion of the page, guys. So let's see what it says. Let's zoom in. We have to zoom in for this. Let's see what it says about Charles Seymour, guys, the Duke of Somerset. Okay, so listen to this, guys. He is of a middle stature, well shaped, a very black complexion, guys, a very black complexion, a lover of music and poetry, of good judgment, but by reason of a great hesitation in his speech, wants expression. He is about 42 years old. He had a black complexion, guys. Okay, in the beginning of this video, I showed you guys the definition of the word complexion. What does that mean? Color of the skin, guys. Okay, color of the skin. And here we are reading that he had a what? A black complexion. Now let's look at some images to see what this black man looked like in modern day depictions. There we have it there, guys. Have you seen what the Caucasian elite have done? They have whitewashed this black man, guys. Now the world has been deceived into believing that this black man was a white person. Okay, very nasty stuff. Okay, guys, so here is a painting of Charles Seymour. Look at how he's a white guy, and it's very funny. They have him pointing at a black person. It's crazy, guys. History has been edited, and you need to know. It's important that we know that the Caucasian race, this stuff was done by the elites. They are the elite of the Caucasian race. They have more power than any other Caucasian group, guys, and I believe they are the ones that did this stuff. Look at that. It's very funny how he's here, a fake guy, a whitewashed white man, pointing at a Negro boy. This boy looks more like the real Charles Seymour than this fake guy here ever will, guys. Ever will. Okay, so here we are on page 162. So this is what we're going to focus on right here, guys. The Earl of Orkney, Lieutenant General. Okay, even though it doesn't say his first name, this person right here is George Hamilton, and we can tell because he's a fourth son of the late Duke Hamilton. Okay, so we know his last name. Okay, but let's see what it says about him here, and then I'll show you guys an image of him online. Crazy stuff. The Earl of Orkney, Lieutenant General, is the fourth son of the late Duke Hamilton and brother to the present. He was bred under his uncle, my Lord Dumbarton, who died in France, and after the revolution had his regiment. Now listen up here, guys. He is a very well shaped what? Black man. Did you catch that, guys? Did you see what this guy looks like? Charles Hamilton. I'll show you guys an image of him in a second. Okay, he's a very well shaped black man. Is brave, but by reason of hesitation in his speech wants expression. He's a well-shaped black man. Have you guys ever heard a white person describe himself as a black man before? Or a white person be described as a black man? This description reminds me of when Abraham Lincoln, in one of the videos that I'm making right now, says, "Don't you remember me? That long black fellow." That's what Lincoln said in the letter he wrote to someone, guys. Okay, these men are telling you that they are black people. But unfortunately, the simple people in the world, they won't believe it, guys. Okay, so let's see an image of Charles Hamilton to get the modern day version that the Caucasian elite want you to believe that these people look like. Here he is here, guys. This is the Charles Hamilton. Look at him. We are supposed to believe that this is him, even though that book published in 1733 describes this man as being a black man. Look at it. This is not a black man. This is a Caucasian, a pale skinned, generic looking Caucasian. But nope. Nope. This is not him, guys. Okay. This is what they want you to believe. This is one of the many ways that Psalms 83 tells us that our enemies will take a crafty counsel against us and cut us off from remembering who we are. This is one of the ways, guys. They go back into all these old portraits and then they whitewash them. This is not Charles Hamilton, guys. Charles Hamilton was a black man. Okay, guys, so here we are on page 175. I want you guys to see this person right here. His name is Rear Admiral Wishart. His full name is actually James Wishart, and I'll show you guys that later on. But I want you guys to see what this article here says about the man, okay? So let's read. Rear Admiral Wishart was born in Scotland and came with King William at the Revolution in a very ordinary capacity. By great application, he has raised himself to what he is now. He is a close, prudent man, understands the sea very well, reckoned a dissenter, and is a great patron to that faction in the fleet. He has had great luck in prizes and purchased a good estate. Now listen to this here, guys. Listen to this. He is a black man towards 50 years old. Okay, he's a what? A black man. Okay. Do you see what the Caucasian elite have done to the history of the Negro now, guys? Okay, because that's what these people were. These people in Europe here, they were Negroes, not just any other group of black people. No, not Hamites. These were Negroes, guys, who were ruling in Europe, ruling in Portugal, in Spain, in Scotland, in England, you name it. They were ruling at this time, guys. Okay, and as you can clearly see, this book describes him as being a black man. But let's see what the Caucasian internet, Caucasian media wants you to believe this guy looked like. Okay, guys, so I googled James Wishart or Rear Admiral James Wishart, and this is what I got, guys. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This looks nothing like a black man, okay? But that's the game, guys. The whole idea is to deceive you into thinking that the Negroes have no history. And one of the ways they have done this is by going back into Negro history and deceiving you into thinking that all these people who were Negroes are actually white people, okay? They whitewash the history of the Negro. That's what you're looking at right here. Look at this guy. The book describes James Wishart as a what? As a black man, but there is nothing black about this man. This is a pale-skinned, generic-ass looking Caucasian here, guys, okay? But it's supposed to be a Negro, a black man. Okay, this is how the enemies in the book of Psalms 83 have come together to take a crafty counsel so that they can cut off the remembrance of the Negro, of the Israelites, guys. That's who the Negro is. He's the Israelite. You have to whitewash the history of all these people so that the Negroes won't be able to connect back to their origins, okay? This history in Europe connects us back to where we came from, guys, okay? But they don't want us to make that connection. They want to cut us off, and that is what they have done, okay? And it's not just the Caucasians that have done this stuff. Nope. All the nations have taken a crafty counsel, okay? They are confederate. They are working together. The Arabs, the white race, the Asians, you name it, all of them have come together to do this, guys, to disconnect the Negro from their heritage by doing things like this, okay? This is just one way they have done it, guys. By whitewashing images of black people and turning them white, they have all stolen a piece of the Negro's history and made it their own. The history book written in 1733 describes this guy as being a black man. Does this look like a black man to you? Nope. This looks like a generic Caucasian white man, guys. What happened? What happened? Man, here is this page, on page 143 of this same book. We are reading about Mr. Methuen, ambassador to the King of Portugal, guys, okay? So this guy's full name is actually Paul Methuen. So let's see what this book say about him and how he looks like, guys. He was bred to a common lawyer and has been many years employed in the affairs of Portugal, which he understands perfectly. In King William's reign, he was made Lord Chancellor of Ireland. Okay, this is Scotland now, I believe. Ireland and Scotland are close, anyway, one of the two. And was once very near being so in England. So he could have been a Lord Chancellor of England as well. Okay, he was close to that. So now let's go down just one more time. Look at it right here. He's a man of intrigue, but very muddy in his conception and not quickly understood in anything. In his complexion and manners, much of a Spaniard. Okay, so what do the Spaniards look like? As I've showed you before, a tall black man, 50 years old. So this guy, he looks like a Spaniard. The people of Spain and Portugal, the two of them, they were all black people. The Jews there, black Jews that were running these countries, they were run by the Jews. That's what the Spaniards look like. That is what this guy looked like. They were black people. Negroes, yes. Now let's see what the internet wants us to believe this man looks like. Okay, here we go. This is an image of Paul Methuen. This is what Google tells us that they look like. They show us a whitewashed image of a white man. The history book described this guy as being a black man, but look at what they want us to believe. A pale-skinned Caucasian, guys. Look at this. This is ridiculous. This is what has happened to our history, guys. Our history has been whitewashed everywhere. The Negroes that went into Europe, they whitewashed their history to make you believe that everyone in Europe was always white. All white, all white, all white. It's not true. These people were black people, Negroes. These were the Dark Lords that ruled Europe, guys, okay? When I say Dark Lords, I don't mean that they were doing magic or evil stuff. Not necessarily. They were dark-skinned lords. Lords, Jarls, and other, other titles, guys, chancellors and other things that were ruling Europe. Dark-skinned people, black people, guys, okay? And in the book that I'm getting this stuff from, there are many, many more. These are just the few that I'm going to show you guys because I want this video to be at least, short. Maybe I'll make 1 or 2 videos and then later on I might do more later on. But yeah, these people in Europe, guys, in the Lord of the Rings, it's Sauron, this evil monster guy. But no, in reality, the Dark Lords were just the dark-skinned lords that were ruling Europe, guys, okay? Before the Caucasian man rose to power and then he defeated the Dark Lords, and then he went back in history to make all the Dark Lords white people, like you're seeing right here, guys. That's what they did. They whitewashed the history of the Negroes and their rulership in Europe. Okay, and it's not just in Europe, they've done this stuff in many parts of the world too, guys, okay? But for this video, we're gonna stop right here, okay? I'll see you guys on the next video.